Welcome to this explainer. So, today we're jumping right into a really fascinating challenge. We're going to use visual forensics to literally deduce reality from a single black and white snapshot. When we look at a photograph without its natural colors, our brains can completely miss the subtle context hiding right there in plain sight. Color usually gives us these massive shortcuts to understanding an environment. Blue skies, golden autumn leaves, bright white snow. But take that away, and how do you actually know what you're looking at? Well, today we're unlocking the hidden timeline of this really moody photograph, and honestly, it's going to change how you look at images forever.
Okay, take a look at this image. I know exactly where your eyes went first, because mine went there too. We've got this strikingly bold, almost aggressive graffiti text painted right on a concrete pillar. Focus on you until the focus is on you. It immediately grabs you, right? It practically demands that you read it. The artist literally used the word focus twice just to make absolutely sure you look dead center. And it's a compelling message for sure, but as you'll see in a second, it's actually a massive visual distraction. Because here is the real puzzle. We want to know, what is the season of this picture? And can you deeply research and explain this easiest way possible? That's exactly what we're going to do. Without the green of spring, the orange of autumn, or that harsh glare of a summer sun, visually speaking, we're totally in the dark. So I'm challenging you right now. Look past those obvious words staring right at you and step into the role of a detective with me. We need to find the absolute easiest, most logical way to pull the exact season straight out of the shadows.
Section 1. Ignoring the obvious and looking past the writing on the wall. All right, let's dive into this. So the very first step in our investigation requires a little bit of discipline. We literally have to choose to ignore the loudest part of the image. The writing on the wall is the subject, sure, but it tells us absolutely zero about the reality of the surrounding world. To find the truth here, I want you to actively force your eyes away from that center text. Seriously, look away. Start scanning the shadows, the corners, the extreme edges, and the background. When you treat the main subject as a blind spot, boom, this whole new world of hidden context suddenly pops out. The real story isn't painted on the concrete at all. It's happening all around it. Which brings us to Section 2, the foreground evidence. What's on the table? Let's see how this builds our case. We're going to start right in the foreground. Guide your eye down to that bottom left corner. Down there, just sitting quietly in the shadows beneath the graffiti, there's a wooden table set up. It's almost entirely eclipsed by that bright white pillar, but guys, it contains our very first major clue. Look closely at those tiny, easily missed details on the table. We have a tray, and on it, multiple empty, clear glasses. And sticking right out of those glasses, we can clearly see straws and stirrers. Someone was just sitting here having a drink. It brilliantly shows how totally mundane objects hold incredible deductive power.
So let's ask a simple question here. What kind of drinks require straws and are served in tall, clear glasses? Think about it. If you go out for a hot coffee, hot chocolate, or a warm cider, the stuff you crave in the dead of winter, they serve those in opaque ceramic mugs to keep the heat in. You definitely don't drink a hot latte through a plastic straw. The presence of clear glasses with straws strongly, almost definitively, suggests iced or cold drinks. Think iced lattes, lemonades, or cocktails. And when do people sit outside drinking heavily iced beverages? Yeah, in warmer weather, like spring or summer.
Section 3. The environmental clues. Let's set the scene. So we already have a really strong hint from the table. Now let's zoom out and transition our focus to the broader background to get the rest of our environmental context. We need to confirm the theory those cold drinks just gave us. Let's see what the environment itself has to say. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the combination of outdoor indicators we pulled directly from the original source. First, we clearly have an exposed outdoor patio setting. Second, notice the string lights hung overhead, kind of swooping across the top left. Third, look deep into the background. We see dark foliage and leaves on the trees. And finally, look at the very top of the original image frame. There is a timestamp showing 1800. That's 6 p.m., evening. Let's zero in on those trees for a second. The fact that there's dense, leafy foliage in the background completely and utterly rules out the barren trees of late autumn or winter. I mean, if this were January, those branches would be totally naked against the sky. Plus, the string lights really suggest a space designed for evening ambience. People are hanging out on an outdoor patio at 6 p.m. In the winter months, at 1800, it's often already pitch black and freezing. You definitely wouldn't be casually chilling on an exposed patio. Section 4. The final verdict and synthesizing the clues. We have collected some fantastic peripheral evidence here. We've looked at the glasses, the patio, the lights, the leaves, and the time of day. Now it's time to bring all of our deductive reasoning together to finally solve this black and white seasonal mystery. Let's synthesize what we've learned. So, the crucial point is how all of these independent clues point in the exact same direction. Let's just walk through this table step by step. The glasses with straws? That implies cold, refreshing drinks, heavily pointing to summer or warm spring. The outdoor patio and lights being used at 1800? That implies it's comfortable enough to sit outside in the evening, again pointing to summer or warm spring. And that dense tree foliage? Well, it implies the trees are far from dormant, totally ruling out winter and pointing us right back to spring, summer, or early fall. The overlapping evidence is incredibly compelling, and it leaves us with a highly probable conclusion. The easiest way to explain this photo season is simply this. You just do not hang out on an open patio at 6 p.m., surrounded by leafy trees, drinking heavily iced beverages through a straw, if it is the middle of winter. No way. The verdict is totally clear and confident. This photograph captures a warm evening in summer or late spring. We literally brought the color back to the image simply by using logic.
Which brings us right back to the beginning. Focus on you until the focus is on you. You know, it's great life advice, perhaps, but it's terrible advice for a visual detective. To see the bigger picture, to literally uncover the season surrounding us in a colorless void, we had to completely stop focusing on the writing on the wall. We had to embrace the shadows, the forgotten empty glasses, and the blurry trees in the background. So I'll leave you with this question to ponder today. In your own life, when you're trying to understand the reality of a complex situation, are you staring at the giant letters painted right in front of you, or are you looking at the subtle clues sitting quietly on the table? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.